Hello, everybody. It is Wind Down Wednesday. Welcome. We're so excited to hang out with you today, Wednesday, November 6th. Go ahead and grab whatever you need to get comfortable and cozy this evening, and we'll be back here in about 30 seconds. All right. Good evening, everybody. So excited to hang out. Before we kick things off, I always have to start with a few quick announcements because I've gotten a lot of questions recently. So I just want to highlight a few quick things here. Can you bring the IRC specialist to your school or district for professional learning? Yes, absolutely. In fact, we encourage it. All of that information can be found scrolling at the bottom of our feed today, all on the IRC website. If you click professional learning, you drop down to the option that says hire IRC. All of our services that we offer and pricing and all of that good information is there for you on our website. We also have our really incredible family and BPAC sessions led by my colleague Adelicia Brienzo. These are free. They are offered multiple times during the day and the evening, and they are offered in English and Spanish. We have heard from many, many school districts that they are engaging their BPACs by offering watch parties for these events. So all of that information can also be found on our website at the IRC. And then finally, we don't want you to miss out on the opportunity for like the event of the year, always the best event ever, the Multilingual Illinois Conference. This year, we are in Tinley Park from December 10th through 13th. We don't want you to miss it. Last year, we did have to close registration kind of early because we maxed out kind of early. So make sure you get your spot now. Email whoever you need to email. Get your spot locked in. We don't want you to miss it. But y'all, tonight, I am so excited because I've got my friend Kimmy here on the screen. We're so excited. Kimmy, how are you?
I'm wonderful. And before I start, I just want to say thank you for having me. You are an inspiration. We love you in the multilingual world. We think of you as the Taylor Swift of multilingual education. So we just adore you. Thank you for all you do for the teachers and also for the students.
Oh, Kimmy, that just like made my whole day. Thank you so much. Oh my goodness. Oh, that really meant a lot to me. Thank you so much. Kimmy, I'm a big fangirl of yours because you do so much in your space and in your system for the students you serve. So for those of us who are watching and are not yet connected to you, tell us a little bit about you and life and work and all of the things.
Yeah, so I'm going to start out with my kids because I love my kids so much. I have two. I have a 16-year-old that's a junior in high school. And then I also have a 23-year-old that's actually he's in Japan right now for a 40-day excursion. He saved for 2 years by himself. He planned for 2 years because it was a dream of his. And now he's there and he's loving it. And it's a solo trip too. So of course the mom and me is a little nervous, but he's going to have friends and family pop in and out throughout his 40 days. And he's actually, I mean, both of my children inspire me to follow my dreams. So I just wanted to give him a shout out. I also have a dog that is my third child. And a quick story about her. I actually use her a lot in my classroom. I can't bring her. She's not a service dog, but she's for me. And so about 10 years ago, 11 years ago, I adopted her. About 10 years ago, I was having some mild stomach pains, but I've recovered from an eating disorder and I've always had gut issues. So I thought it was just something like that. But she started nuzzling her head into my stomach and it was odd. It was just odd behavior. And so at my next doctor's appointment, I let my doctor know. They did some tests and found out I had stage 2 colon cancer. So I mean, she literally saved my life because colon cancer, although it's slow growing, there's not many symptoms until late stages. So I'm just so grateful for her. So I actually, I think one of the ways we first got in contact was I told you about this Pause for Read program I did with my students. So I'm SEL and somatic work, excuse me, is my wheelhouse. And so at the end of the year, I started really playing around with AI a lot. I know you talk a lot about AI in your presentations. And I was doing fun things like having my dog fold my laundry and creating like AI photos of it. And I was having her, do funny things like clean the toilet or clean the floors. And I was telling my kids that she was doing all these things. And I work with young kids, so they sort of believed it. But then I decided I'm going to really encourage them to read over the summer. So I created this Pause for Read program, and I made a video of my dog doing all these funny things over the summer. And I also had a lot of teachers at my school help me, and they all read to their pets. And the point of the video was to encourage kids to read over the summer. And we did this whole adoption program where they each got to adopt a stuffed animal to read to. So it was a lot of fun. So she is a big part of my life as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Kimmy, what an incredible story. So first of all, your kids are incredible. Holy cow.
Yeah.
And I like when you said that about your mama heart, I'm like, my mama heart is with your mama heart,
Yeah.
because that sounds like, it's like one of those scary things. Like you build up your baby so much, and then you're like, and off you go, out into the world. But what an incredible experience. And I can't wait to hear more when he comes back about, all that he learned and saw and experienced. And that's just incredible.
Yeah.
And your dog, that is just incredible. And Kimmy, you and I know we're both hardcore dog people, and a lot of people watching are also very big dog people. But that's just unbelievable. And like in the rescue world, we always say like, who rescued who, right? Like that saying of, but like it really is incredible how intuitive, right, a lot of our dogs are, and just the level of care that they can provide to us. And we absolutely reciprocate, but that our doggy is just
I know. We actually at our school we have a service dog as well named Spencer. So it's our principal's dog, and it's wonderful to have him there too. So yeah.
Absolutely incredible. Oh my goodness, that was always one of my dreams, is to have a registered service dog, like be in school with. That's just so cool. That's so cool. So Kimmy, I have to say, for those of you who are watching, if you got to go on Instagram right now and type in @teaching Kimmy so that you can follow Kimmy on Insta. But also, I want y'all to bookmark the two posts that are coming down on the bottom of the screen. One is Kimmy's YouTube channel, which is absolutely incredible. And then the second is her blog. But I will tell y'all that I got to see the video that she was just referencing about the summer reading program. And like, number one, the video itself is incredible, just like the structure of the video. But the second thing that I loved so much is like, it's not only so engaging for the students to view this, but it's also so cool for the families to view this and see how not just Kimmy, but how Kimmy like got all of her colleagues involved in this. Because now, as like, not only as a student, but as a family member, I see all of these adults who just really love kids, and just really like, they'll do anything for kids and to build kids up and make kids feel good and excited about summer reading and just all of it. And I was just like, this was just like such like a home run in every way.
They were really excited to see all of their other teachers do it. And you're right. A lot of the parents can go to the YouTube channel whenever they want, because I have different breathing activities on there as well. So it's a really good resource to get it out there to the families.
Yes. Oh, I love it so much. So Kimmy, your wheelhouse, like, you have served multilingual learners, but your whole wheelhouse really like SEL and supporting newcomers and multilingual learners through SEL and somatic work. Can you tell us a little bit like about, maybe just your initial thoughts about
Yeah.
the unique SEL needs of our multilingual students?
Definitely. So I was a gen ed teacher for about 15 years, and I just over the past 3 or 4 years became a EL teacher. So I want to start by saying SEL is really important for all students, right? It's vital for all students. But I think there's a uniqueness about servicing multilingual students and using SEL with them because we want to build those relationships. And a lot of times, some of our multilingual students or newcomers might come with trauma. And it may be because they're immigrants or they've been displaced, or there could be a lot of reasons. And trauma isn't about what happens to you, it's about how your body responds to it. So I think that supporting multilingual learners and really delving into that SEL is so important. And I'm really grateful because, as a gen ed teacher, I'm not going to lie, I got a little burnt out with all the responsibilities that are put on you. And there are a lot as an EL teacher too. However, I think in my role, as an EL teacher and a content coach and a tech coach, I think I have a lot more flexibility. And a lot of that I just embed a lot of SEL support. And I think, teachers that have been doing it for a while just automatically know how to embed that into their lessons. So that's kind of why I think it's so important to use SEL, especially with our newcomers and multilingual students.
Yes, yes. So, Kimmy, I appreciate that you used the word embed, right? Because it doesn't have to be something that's like a separate thing, right? It can be infused into what we do. And using, like, I appreciate that you have all these different perspectives as like a classroom teacher, as an EL teacher, the tech coach, like all of the coaching that you do with teachers and with colleagues. You bring all of these things into your work with students, and that kind of infuses, right, the capacity of your whole staff, really.
Exactly.
So when we say somatic work, if folks who are watching this tonight with us, they're like, I don't even know what that means, what that is.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about what somatic work is, and then like how we might leverage some of these supports for our students?
Yes, definitely. So somatic work is a lot like SEL. A traditional SEL program may have things like talking about emotions and feelings and being able to recognize them and talk through them. Somatic work is a little bit different. And I recently did some de-escalation training with my district, and I know we all have seen that iceberg, right? The iceberg where what we see is above the water, but there's so much that we don't see that's underneath, right? And so there's things that we can see and that we know, and we want to learn as much about our students as possible, but there's things that we'll never know, whether they just don't tell us and the families don't tell us, or maybe it's because we haven't fully experienced it ourselves, so we can never fully understand how it affects them. So somatic work, I've been using it for many years with my therapist, and how we would describe it as, let's say that gazelle is running from a predator, from a lion, and it gets away. Well, the gazelle can't call up its therapist and say, hey, this event just happened to me and I'm really feeling trauma from it. Can you help talk through it? They don't do that. They actually physically shake their bodies to release that trauma. And so I think it's really important that we teach children how to do the same, because we can talk till we're blue in the face, but sometimes they need to learn those self-regulation exercises so they can start learning how to do it themselves. So those things will include things like breathing exercises, grounding exercises, sensory movement exercises like yoga. So all of those type of things can help support students as they're moving through things. And it's also really important that we just don't teach these skills to put fires out when something is happening. We really have to start teaching these students at a young age. It took me 5-6 years to learn how to use these skills as a 46-year-old woman. So we really need to teach these skills when they're young, pre-K, kindergarten, first, second, so that by the time they're in those upper grades, they can self-regulate on their own, and they can recognize when they have that indicator light that says, whoa, something's going on with me, and I need to really like start using some of those tools, and then they will. So that's the difference really between somatic work and just traditional SEL.
Yes. Okay. Thank you for explaining that. And I appreciate that you gave that example of the gazelle, right? And,
Yeah.
and how they shake their body. Like, so it's a very natural thing to have some type of reaction or release
Mhm.
to kind of cope with whatever's happening in the moment. So I appreciated that analogy. That really stuck with me.
Yeah.
Um, and I also really appreciate that you said like we have to equip these kids from a young age, because like you and I, like we're from the same generation, and like you mentioned it, and I that resonated with me. I still don't have all the tools that I really do need
Yeah.
as an adult, who works full time and does, we're all so busy. We all do all these things. Like there are just moments where I find like my own indicators are going off. My own like nervous system is like alerting me, right? Like the
Yeah.
Carly's, you're off, or you're a little
Yeah.
escalated, or you're a
Yeah.
little overstimulated, or you need some this or this or this or this. And that was not a part of our schooling
No.
experience.
No,
We
not
were
at all.
never taught any of these skills. So I really appreciated that you said like we really do need to have some explicit instruction
Mhm.
starting at the youngest age. Like
Yeah.
that's, I think, huge. That's huge.
Yes. And a quick funny story too. Last year I was observed by my principal, and he was new to our school, and so it was the first time he was observing me. So I was a little nervous. I
Yeah.
had a group, and I always do about just like I'm only with students for 30-minute blocks because
Okay.
we have a pull-out program. So I had a group, and we did just a minute or two of a breathing activity at the beginning. I have this Hoberman sphere where we just breathe in, breathe out. And we did 3 collective breaths. And at the end, I asked the students, because I wanted to impress my principal, I said, why do we do this every day? And usually I would tell the kids that it helps us get our minds and bodies ready to learn.
Yeah.
So one of my students raised her hand and she said, in the sweetest little voice, she said, it helps us get our minds, bodies, and hearts ready to learn. And I was like, oh my goodness.
Oh
That
my.
was like the perfect answer. And she's right. It also gets our
Yeah.
hearts ready to learn. So
Yeah.
I just love that story. And
Oh.
it's really important that we support these little ones.
Yes, yes. And I love that so much, because that like the student lens, like this is what they're observing, and this is like what they're, how they see this like as a structure, like to prime them, right?
Yeah.
But like even as an adult, so my colleague Adelicia is
Yeah.
really, really mindful about this type of work. And so when she facilitates a meeting, whether like we're talking committee stuff or whatever it might be, anytime we come together as adults at the IRC, she will give us some type of grounding exercise.
Yeah.
And like, all adults are very, very different. But I will tell you, every time that we come together and she guides us in something, we all like, you could almost see the tension
Yeah.
leaving people. Like our
Yeah.
shoulders all kind of relax a little bit. We unclench our jaws, like
Mhm.
all of it. And I'm like, man, like you don't realize, how fast we're all moving as adults, but
Exactly.
like our kids are too. Like our
Yeah.
kids are like they carry different types of tension around with them. So I
Yeah.
love that the students are able to like learn these skills, and then to be able to reflect back and share like this is why we do it. This is
Yeah.
why it makes a difference.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
I love that so much. Oh,
Yeah.
so you mentioned like a breathing exercise, like the inhale and the exhale.
Yeah.
What are some of like, do you have some like go-to tools, resources, considerations, thought boops, whatever it might be, for supporting multilingual students through this lens?
Yes, for sure. So, of course, calming activities are always great. I actually have a few on my YouTube and blog spot that I can share with you. So I have these calming cards that have breathing, sensory activities. They even have yoga movements. I'm a certified yoga instructor, 200 hour. So they have different yoga practices that are really body inclusive and age inclusive. So there's a lot of really great stuff on there. I also have a book that I'm trying to get published through a traditional route about, it's called The Tangle. And it's about how we all have like this tangle in us, this little tangle of like yarn in our body, and how we can never fully get rid of it. It's the trauma that we have, but we can learn ways to maybe loosen it, or maybe give it to a trusting adult, or do different things to help us deal with the trauma. So I have that too, that is really dear to my heart. But there's a lot of different strategies, both somatic and SEL, that we can do with students. And a lot of people say, don't talk about TPR, or don't talk about visuals, because everybody uses those. But I think those are really important because they also include, no matter what level your students are at, they're very inclusive, those type of activities.
Yeah.
And there's a strategy that I love called picture word inductive model, where at the beginning of every unit, we just show a photo and the students just talk about it. And it really brings up a lot of great vocabulary. And again, you want to find strategies that are good for all levels, because then everyone's included in that. I a lot of times will combine that with I see, I think, I wonder, where those students will have that sentence prompt. We did access testing last year, and I have a newcomer from Ukraine. And I was worried about the speaking part for him because I knew it would be difficult. But because we did those sentence prompts during the speaking section, he didn't respond to the question specifically, but he was able to say, I see, with all the things that he saw in the picture. And he did very well in the speaking because of it. So we want to, like I said, make sure we do strategies that include everybody. Yeah. And the one other thing, inclusion, that's so important is having that like very text-rich environment. Yeah. We want the students to be able to see themselves in the books that you read, in the curriculum that you use, and all of that. I'm very inclusive with my classroom library, but I noticed I had a couple Polish kids and I didn't have any books for them. So I found this bookstore in Oak Park called The Book Table, and they have a very diverse selection of books. So I was able to find a book about a Polish cat that would speak Polish. It was so cute. And it was a local author too. So I really enjoy finding books that are very diverse, that include everybody.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, that's huge. It's not, I love that you gave so many good, like, tactical examples, because like when we're talking about embedding this work into what we do, right? It's not something separate, but it's very strong, like very instructionally sound practices that are going to elevate and amplify languaging opportunities, but they're also inclusive and unifying across all proficiency levels, including, right, monolingual kids. So it kind of pushes against that model of like, we have to do separate activities, to scaffold for multilingual students. And really a lot of that can be done within the whole class setting, right? And so it serves as that unifying experience so that everybody can have that nurtured and cultivated sense of belonging in the space.
Exactly. So, you can scaffold within that. So
yes. I appreciate that. And so folks, if you are watching and you're like, this is a strategy I also use, we would encourage you to share that in the chat as we chat through tonight. And if you have any questions for Kimmy, either tonight or if you catch the replay, please leave that in the comments as well. But Kimmy, you also mentioned, so you're working on like a passion project of writing, and that just, like, as soon as you said that, I was like, oh, like my my spidey senses went up, because I'm like, oh, I could use that so much, like as a practitioner. Like I would just absolutely love, love, love to read your work. And I want to share because you are presenting a session at the Multilingual Illinois Conference on
Yes,
December 13th. And so I know folks who are watching are like, oh man, I need to sit down with Kimmy and like learn all the things. So
yeah.
can you tell us just a little quick blurb about your session coming up?
Yes, I'm so excited. So we're so excited we got accepted to present. We're presenting at the IRC conference in December. It's going to be December 13th that we're presenting. And my dear friend, Karen Seberg, and I are going to present on supporting newcomers across grade levels. So Karen works with middle and high school, and I work with elementary school. So we're going to talk about different ways to support. And I will talk about trauma-informed teaching and SEL and somatic work. We'll talk about just general practices that you can use with your newcomers, like academic practices. And also, Karen's going to be talking about how to linguistically modify assessments. So there's going to be a lot packed into that seminar. So we're really, really excited about that. And also, too, if I could plug, I'm also presenting at IdeaCon in February. And I'm really excited about that. It's my second time presenting. So I'll be presenting on something similar, but I'm going to focus more on that trauma-informed teaching and the SEL and somatic work during that presentation.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
incredible.
Yeah.
So again, friends watching, got to get that plug in. You have to get registered for the state conference because you don't
Yeah.
want to miss Kimmy and Karen's session. I'm super jazzed about it. So I will absolutely be at that session, like taking all the notes and doing all the learning and absorbing. So I'm super excited about that. And at the IRC, we are big fans of IdeaCon. So make sure that one is in February, typically Schaumburg, I believe, right?
Yes. Yes.
So make sure that you get registered for IdeaCon. All that information is found if you Google IdeaCon 2025. All the information will pop up. That's a really fantastic conference. And I'll also say, because I would say, like, probably, I don't know, years ago, when I heard IdeaCon, I
Mhm.
thought it was just like a tech conference.
Yeah, me too.
But it really isn't. It's like a
Mhm.
super inclusive.
Yeah.
There's a lot of different topics and like strands within. And last year, like we had a pretty good representation of multilingual centered sessions.
Yeah.
And Kimmy, you were there last year. So I cannot wait to see you back at IdeaCon this coming year. So we're so excited. So many wonderful, amazing opportunities to learn from our colleague here, Kimmy. Again, make sure that you're following her on Instagram, YouTube. Make sure you bookmark her YouTube channel along with her blog. And let's keep our network growing, because I think, this is something that we all need. And like as adults, we all need it. As educators, we need it, but our students certainly need it. So Kimmy,
Definitely.
thank you so, so much for hanging out with us tonight. We really appreciate it. And we're, of course, super excited for your session at the Multilingual Illinois Conference.
Thank you. And thank you again for having me. I just really admire you and thank you.
Thank you, Kimmy. Thanks so much for watching, everyone. Good night.